Hello, I'm Richard Vobes and I'm out for another of my walks, only this time it's not so much of a walk, it's more of an explore. I've come back to Shoreham Fort. After my last video, I was very kindly offered a chance to explore it in a great more detail, and that's what I'm going to do. But first of all, I need to find Gary.
My name's Gary Baines and I'm the chairman and the founder of the Friends of Shoreham Fort.
Hello Gary.
Hello Richard.
It's lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you at long last.
You're a tall chap. I need to make sure I've got you within my camera.
Shoreham Fort was built in 1857 as a prototype to defend us from the French. There was a boat known as Le Guar that was a huge threat towards the English government, and we had to retaliate with forts. This is a prototype fortification before then going on to other forts around the country. Before this fort was built, we had what was known as gun batteries, or before that even sooner, we had the Henry VIII castles. They were standing up very, very proud. This one is built to actually just disappear with the South Downs behind us. It looks like a grass hill and it camouflages very well. So nothing was seen from the sea itself.
So when you started getting involved with this,
Yep.
this bit that we're going to go down, the tunnel to the Campania, I'm going to struggle with that.
You will get there.
I will get there. This was all in rubble, you were telling me.
It was, yes, up past my chest. Now, me being 6'5", that was a lot of rubble.
That's a lot of rubble.
Yeah. So there'll be 48 men living here on site from the 1st Sussex Artillery Volunteers, but in any time of anger, about another 250 would make their way over from the mainland to bring our numbers up to nearly 300.
Yeah, so you cleared this out, and you were telling me it took 6 days?
Yes, just 10 people removed 23 tonnes in 6 days. That's not from the tunnel, that's from the South Campania itself. The tunnel was up past my knees and took a further 10 days.
Good gracious. You're a tall chap, aren't you? So you graze your head on this rather a lot.
Yeah, the tunnel clearance is 6 foot and I'm 6'5", so...
Wow.
Yeah. The conditions would have been very, very good here. In fact, for most of the soldiers, the conditions were better here than perhaps what they already had at home. And I think that's why most of them would have spent up to 6 to 8 weeks' wages on their uniforms to be able to become a volunteer, to get something that they had here, like roast dinners and things like that, that they didn't have or couldn't afford at home.
So here we are, inside the Campania,
Yeah.
And it's got a barrel roof,
Yeah.
which is very strong, isn't it? It's
Very
a fantastic design.
Yeah, nearly 3 feet thick. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So nothing's going to land on that would damage it.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not,
No.
from the French.
Certainly not in the 1850s.
And their ironclad ships, steamships.
That's it, yeah.
You've got something rather impressive stationed here, but this wouldn't normally be stationed here. What is this?
We've got a cannon sat here down in the South Campania. The last cannon was stolen in 1976, so we've had Northbrook College actually rebuild us a cannon, but this isn't like any other cannon. This one is fiberglass. Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to fit a normal one down here because the barrel itself would have been 5 tons in weight.
Good God.
So there's no way we would have been able to lift it.
No.
Thankfully, with fiberglass and modern technology, this one's a little bit lighter.
I was going to say, but even so, that's still quite some weight.
It is, yeah, and
And some size.
Yeah, it takes four men to lift just the arm of the oak arm, and the barrel section is 8 feet long.
Good
So,
gosh.
yeah.
But I imagine when it's on the top, though, it must look spectacular.
It looks brilliant.
Yeah.
It looks brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids at Northbrook College did a fantastic job. It only cost us just under £800.
Wow.
For the whole cannon. So
It's beautifully
yeah,
modelled.
they did a great job.
I
think pride had a lot to do with it. Back then, people wanted to stand proud for their country. The volunteers that were here may have already fought in other areas of the world and come back and didn't perhaps want to go back to civilization, so they stayed on with the volunteers. Then you've got other people that were perhaps too young to go and fight abroad that would help here as well. It was very much about pride and looking after your country, making sure that your loved ones were looked after at home, and this was a good way to do it.
The purpose of this is to obviously fire at the enemy,
Yes.
That bit I can work out.
Yeah.
But what you've got loads of eyelets. What would you call them? Windows.
They're called rifle loops.
Rifle loops.
Yeah,
yes.
rifle loops. A lot of them are bricked up now because in the 70s, when they did a bit of restoration work, it was deemed safer to brick them up than it was to leave them open. But the soldiers would have been in here for 18 hours on shift. So, yeah, we're complaining about 9 till 5.
Yes.
These guys were in here for 18 hours.
Good God.
22 of them at once. So, yeah, it was a nice place to be though, because you'll notice today that it's a really hot day outside,
yes.
but it's nice and cool in here.
It is.
Throughout the whole of the year, it stays at pretty much the same temperature. So in the winter, nice and warm.
Yes.
In the summer, nice and cool. But they would have no lights in here whatsoever. The reason for that was discipline. If you were to have lights in here for 18 hours on shift, you'd get out your playing cards and play with your mates.
That's true.
You had to be looking out of these rifle loops at all times. So if you couldn't see your cards, you couldn't play with them.
No. Well, that makes perfect sense.
I started doing the project itself when I was 14, so 23 years ago. But it took me a long time to get permission to actually gain access to the property, to put a shovel in the ground, as you can imagine. And they weren't going to let a 14-year-old boy look after the last fort of its kind in the world. So yeah, it took me 13 years to get that permission. But on my 30th birthday, that's when the charity officially started, or the group of friends started. And then we got charity status in 2012. When we first started, the condition of the fort was really bad. You couldn't see the gun emplacements up the top, you couldn't see the steps, there was just nothing to look at, and most of it was falling down. In fact, we were at risk of losing a large portion of the Carno wall around the outside of the fort as well. So yeah, it was in a really bad condition, and we've done our best now to try and at least make it secure before then moving on to the future goals. Our plan, well, our motto is giving a history a future by bringing history to life. So we really want to rebuild the barrack block that was demolished in 1958 and use it as an educational tool, but not just an educational tool where we talk to the children about it. We really want to bring this place to life.
What can the youngsters coming in, the schools, the students, and of course oldies like us, get up to?
Oh, well, when we finish the dream, we're going to be down here really learning through experience. So guided tours will be given by uniformed soldiers. So you'd learn about the Victorian history through a Victorian soldier. First World War soldier will take you out to do the First World War, and World War II will bring you around the fort as well. We also do other things like stripping down the Vickers machine gun, run it across the fort, putting it back together, which is team building, listening to commands. It's just a fantastic way for the kids to learn.
You told me that you'd be dressed up as the sergeant at arms and giving them discipline.
Yes, I have done that before. The teachers love it because obviously in 1916 I can discipline through those rules.
Right.
So yeah, I get away with a little bit more than the modern day teacher can.
Well, and I bet kids love that.
They do. They love it, and it just shows them the respect that we used to have. And 9 times out of 10, you only tell them off once.
You told me that you're all volunteers, and of course it's a charity. So the funding comes from the general public, mostly?
Yeah, it's mainly through the events that we put on throughout the year. Our main one is Military History Weekend on the first weekend of June. Now that's a sort of event that you'd see at English Heritage Properties to cost you an absolute fortune to get your kids in and whatever. We do it for free entry.
Come down and explore the fort for yourselves and try out some of the marvellous food that's food for thought.
Yes, please do. We're here once a fortnight on a Sunday, guided tours at 2 o'clock. So please come down and see us. It would be great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Gary. It's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure having you here too.
Now, I just got to find my way out. Is it back up the long corridor?
It is, yeah. Watch your head.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.